Welcome! Today we're going to show you how two parties can use Smartsettle ONE's visual blind bidding to settle a money matter. Smartsettle ONE uses algorithms that keeps parties in control and encourages them to collaborate and quickly find a fair solution to any formal negotiation that can be reduced to a monetary issue. On the surface, visual blind bidding for one issue appears very simple, but under the covers are sophisticated algorithms that encourage parties to collaborate and quickly find an optimal outcome. To illustrate, we've chosen a business dispute between claimant and defendant. Discussions establish a negotiating range between $25,000 and $10,000. After parties have exchanged relevant information, they are ready to create a single negotiating framework, SNF for short. The SNF is essentially a draft of the final agreement that leaves one blank for the monetary issue to be negotiated. The SNF should be easy to create, since it essentially documents everything that the parties already agree about. With the SNF in place, the parties have one task left, that is, to resolve the remaining monetary issue. The traditional resolution process is typically characterized by a tedious negotiation dance. If the outcome is not found on the court steps, the court outcome is often a binary decision in favor of one of the parties. And the so-called winner may not even be left with much, after considering all the costs of that lengthy process. And even less if relationships are also at stake. Smartsettle replaces that tedious and exhausting negotiation dance with a process called visual blind bidding. Let's jump into the simulation so you can see for yourself how it works. The case can be set up by one of the parties or both in a short intake process. We're going to watch the bidding phase from claimant's point of view. This process could be done asynchronously at each party's convenience, but this demonstration assumes that both parties are present for the bidding. Claimant's most preferred outcome is on the right-hand side, while defendant's most preferred outcome is on the left-hand side. Before we proceed with the simulation, we're going to show you the Zone of Potential Agreement, or ZOPA for short. In this case, both parties have done their research and obtained sufficient advice. Claimant has decided that she will not agree to anything less than $18,000. Defendant is determined not to pay more than $21,000. This overlap of each party's maximum willingness to concede is known as the ZOPA. In real life, parties never know for sure where the ZOPA is, but they should estimate it and make their moves accordingly. To start session 1, claimant makes an opening proposal that is visible to defendant. This is matched by a proposal from defendant. Parties have been advised to start with proposals that are somewhat optimistic. This helps to avoid face-saving problems and getting stuck early with no room to move. Claimant also places a secret bid, which cannot be seen by defendant. Defendant also makes a secret bid that claimant cannot see, but we are giving you a glimpse for the sake of this illustration. Parties will reach an agreement when their secret bids overlap, but this doesn't happen in session 1. In session 2, both parties make visible and secret concessions. Claimant reaches the ZOPA, but defendant is holding back. Before starting session 3, since claimant has already conceded nearly to her limit, she decides to declare final session. She then makes her final secret move to 18. Defendant is taken by surprise, but since he also intends to settle, he makes his final secret offer of 21. Now you can see that there is an overlap of $3,000. This overlap is shared fairly between the two parties, and the agreement is declared to be $20,000. We'll see shortly how that was determined. But first, let's review what happened. Claimant was first to the ZOPA, at which time she declared final session. Defendant then made a relatively large move, which resulted in an overlap of $3,000. Smartsettle's goal is to encourage a timely and fair outcome, and provide incentive for the parties to move to the zone of possible agreement quickly, and that is exactly what happened. We have a deal between 18 and 21. You already saw that the agreement was declared to be 20, but how did that come about? The first thing that usually comes to mind is to split the difference, but that's a bad idea because it encourages the parties to hold back and has a chilling effect on the negotiations. Splitting the difference also reveals what the other party's secret bid was. In contrast, Smartsettle's algorithms do not reveal the other party's secret bids and actually discourage holding back by rewarding collaborative behavior. While defendant was holding back, claimant's proactive collaboration enabled her to enter the ZOPA sooner. Claimant then made a modest move and announced final session, which caught defendant off guard, ultimately requiring them to make a larger concession. This resulted in the overlap of $3,000. Smartsettle's method rewards collaboration by dividing the overlap in the same proportion as the last moves, and favoring the party making the smallest last move. In this case, the outcome of $20,000 favors claimant, who made the smallest last move. But notice that the agreement is also better for defendant than their last move, so they have reason to be satisfied too. The hypothetical scenario we've shown you is actually unlikely. In real life, both parties are more likely to respond to Smartsettle nudging them along at each step along the way, and helping them avoid getting caught in having to make a relatively large move in final session that would favor the other party. Upon agreement, the final document is automatically generated from the text of the single negotiating framework, and a certified PDF is available to both parties. 9 collaboration algorithms are implemented at the Smartsettle neutral site. 6 are listed here. Only 4 were illustrated in this video, showing how negotiators can use visual blind bidding to eliminate the tedious negotiation dance that characterizes traditional negotiations. Because parties know that their secret moves will never be revealed, they can safely move early to the ZOPA, and that results in settlements occurring quickly. 2 other algorithms that are very useful in the case of impasse are illustrated in separate videos, which can be found on Smartsettle's e-negotiation channel. Thanks for watching.